Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Paul, and on this channel I pretty much like to go over things that I'm curious about. So with today's video, I wanted to talk about the difference that I see between faith and reason, or faith and logic, as forms of knowing things, and why I think faith is actually a higher form of knowing than logic or reason would be. Okay, so as I have tried to get to know God and understand God, there are things that I would say it doesn't matter even to not just within the realms of Christianity, but just like if you go to any religion, there would be realms of the unexplainable. Okay, there are realms of which we cannot explain what is going on, but we are experiencing what is going on. So there is a way to experience something and to know something without being able to reason to that thing or to use logic, in an argumentative sense, to be able to prove something or something like that. Now, I like reason and logic a lot because it allows us to get somewhere in a conversation of provability. So there is benefit to reason and logic in the standpoint that it allows us to come to the conclusion that there would be a God. And I've also heard some very, very good arguments for the fact that there would be no God and whatnot. But my conclusion is that there is a God just in a logical sense. Like if we look at a building, this is the most simple one, but if we look at a building, we don't go, oh, that building randomly got there. We say someone made that building. Same thing with creation. That's 100 times more complex or a million times more complex. We go, oh, creation, creator. It's like pretty simple logic there that's going on. We don't just say it came from nothing, although some would. But so we can use reason and logic to get to the point that there is God, okay? But knowing that being, that presides in the realm of faith. Okay, there are some things that we can logically infer. So like let's take Christianity for example. People like to ask the question a lot of times of if God's so loving, why do all these bad things happen in the world? To me, I just flip that question around and I go, if God isn't loving, why would he send his son? Right? If this being made, like let's say they have the right assumption that God is just, evil and whatever. I say, if that is true, why would that being send, his son and whatnot? And so for me, there are things that we can process logically about God even that can teach us things about God, or that we can just arrive to a conclusion of God. But what I have seemed to experience is there is a realm of knowing that isn't explainable. There is a realm of knowing that only is in the realm of faith. And to me, the only type of explanation that I can have with this, so I've heard from people, is the whenever two people like fall in love and then they're like, oh, they're gonna get married, and they say, we just knew, they can't explain it. There wasn't anything. We're not going to be, oh, I had this much amount of love in me. No, it wasn't quantifiable. It wasn't anything like that. They just knew, right? That something was happening. And I think this is what we get with the just this realm of peace, just this realm of love, just this realm of experience that we're saying, hey, we know something's going on here, but if I try talking about it, words fail. Words fail the experience. But, and this is the other part too that I think is wrong in terms of like only being so tuned into objective things instead of subjective as well, is there are things that we have every day that we can't put a number on to measure. There are things every day that we have going on like this, but we can't measure them out in any quantifiable way to say this is what happened or this is what I'm feeling or anything like that. And this is what logic and reason really likes, is very objective things, provable things. Faith is, if you will, subjective. Obviously, everyone's experience, it's their own, so it's obviously subjective. But it doesn't mean that part of knowing is an inferior knowing. In my opinion, it's superior because this is the realm of the spiritual that goes beyond our present capabilities. And so for me, when I am experiencing something that has gone beyond anything that I can explain, why would I consider that inferior at all? The explainable, to me, is what is inferior. If we can give an example of something, or this is what Jesus did oftentimes, he gave parables of things, metaphors, but he couldn't describe the thing because his disciples weren't ready. And so if someone's going to tell me that the faith realm is the inferior realm of knowledge rather than the superior realm, I just don't see how that is even reasonable. Logically speaking, it seems to make sense that the thing that goes beyond, if words cannot explain it, words are the inferior thing, not what we're experiencing. It's words that are inferior. And the reason why I think this gets so caught up and tangled up is because obviously not everyone's had the same experience. Obviously, because it's subjective. So, case in point, not everyone's going to have the same experience with this. But because of that, there's so much fluff in this area, if you will, of faith, spirituality, etc., where you get a lot of experiences and whatnot. So they're just discredited all over the board. And the people who are very scientific, logical, reasoning, mathematic, they are the ones who are glorified in our society. So I definitely respect like apologists, scientists, anybody who can use philosophers, anybody who can use reason, logic, mathematics, any of those objective things. They are necessary to have a foundation. They are necessary to move forward in anything organized in society. But faith, because it goes beyond any of these things, is superior to these things. It's not inferior. It's still a form of knowing. This is what people say sometimes. I don't fully know, so I have faith that something will happen. That's not the faith that I'm talking about, per se. That is a type of faith, but I say that's more of a optimistic outlook, a wishful hope. It's not a hope grounded in something. So, for example, in Christianity, we would say we have hope, but that hope is grounded in a lot of the reason. For someone to say, I hope tomorrow is a good day, without any reason behind it, that's just wishful thinking. So I'm not talking about that type of hope. I'm talking about a different type of hope, and I'm talking about a different type of faith, okay? So with that, this is the thing that goes beyond. So it's in my point of view that I prefer the faith type of knowing compared to the reason and logic type of knowing. Both are good. Both are necessary. But the things that I have not been able to explain, and I'm trying to explain this one as best as I can, but the things that I've not been able to explain, in my own mind, they are not the things that I think less about. They're the things that I think more about, because I'm like, what was that thing? What was that thing? And how can I articulate the idea, put the words together to explain what happened? How can I do that? How can I do it? It's the things that keep my mind going, not the things that just come in my mind and pass, So anyways, just wanted to record this video today talking about those differences between the reason and logic type of knowing and the faith type of knowing. So, with that being said, if that made any sense, let me know down in the comments below. If you agree or disagree or have your own kind of thoughts on this, also let me know. Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say and see what you guys are thinking with this conversation. So, all right, I'll see you guys in the next one.